What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are. We're taking a look at the Restoration Druid. Just to give a little bit of a lowdown on this thing, there is not a whole hell of a lot that has changed between WoD and coming into Legion. It's playing basically the same style, which is really nice. Unless you've been playing this thing for a while, then it may be a little bit on the boring side. But to really get into this, let's go ahead and start with the abilities. Alright, so here we are looking at the abilities, and you still have Bark Skin, and as previously noted before in a couple of the other videos, Bark Skin is going to reduce all damage you take by 20%, preventing damage from delaying your spell cast and lasts 12 seconds. You can use this while stunned, frozen, incapacitated, feared, or asleep, and in all shapeshift forms, but it is on a 1-minute cooldown. Just a very minor defensive piece. It works out pretty good, and again, it's going to be situational on when you use this thing. Bear form, exactly what it says, turns you into the bear. Cat form, turn you into kitty. Dash, it's going to activate cat form and increase your movement speed by 70% while in cat form. 3-minute cooldown on that bad boy. Displacer Beast is a talent. We'll go over that here in a few minutes. Dreamwalk, this is going to be your teleport into the Emerald Dreamway. It's one. You've got a couple specs that still have the teleport. You have mages that are able to teleport. You have druids that still teleport, and then you've also got monks that still teleport to their location for their class order hall. As for anything else, I do not believe there's anything else that actually still teleports. You still have efflorescence. Yeah, okay, it's decent. Basically, it's going to be your mushroom and everything all mixed into one, no different. And it's going to do just some really small ticking healing. Now, it's only going to do 3 injured allies within the 10-yard areas, so there's now a cap on it. You can't do any more than 3 being healed here, and it really kind of sucks. Decent mana cost on it, though, so you can mainly keep this down, and just as damage comes, just slowly heal it back up because of this. Entangling Roots, well, this is the same thing as on live. It's basically going to entangle yeah, it's just a CC, guys. It's going to snare them, keep them in place. And then you got Essence of Gnar. It's an artifact. Release the natural power within Gnar to increase the frequency that all your heal over time effects heal allies by 100% for 8 seconds. This is Genesis on a 1.5 minute cooldown. If you played it all during the live setup, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But Genesis is works basically the same way, and that's all that your artifact ability is going to be, is Genesis on a 1.5 minute cooldown. Okay, we'll take it. And then you've got Growl. Okay, yeah, not necessarily something that you're going to use in healer preference unless for some damn reason you need to jump into bear form. Okay, nothing big. Let's see. Healing Touch. This is going to be your go-to mana-efficient heal. It's going to heal a friendly target for a decent amount, and it also has a long cast time, but a real low mana cost. Hurricane. Same as any other. Yep, there it is. And it's just going to be an AoE, guys. It's got a cast time on it with a cooldown, and it does a decent amount of damage over 8.7 seconds. Incarnation, that is actually a talent. Innervate, infuse friendly healers with energy, allowing them to cast spells without spending mana for 10 seconds. 3-minute cooldown. Gonna be kind of nice, a little bit different than when we've seen it before, so you don't get the mana regen, you actually end up getting reduced mana cost. No, basically free heals for 10 seconds. This is going to be awesome with the Druid because a lot of your higher costing spells are actually instant. So this may end up helping quite a bit. Iron Bark, instant, 1-minute cooldown. Basically, it's going to reduce the damage of the target by 20% for 12 seconds and increase healing from your heal over time spells by 20%. So they added a little bit of a buff situation on there for your HOTS whenever you go to cast this thing. Really nice. Life Bloom. They just kind of did a little bit of a nerf to this, but it heals the target for 35,000, which isn't that much, over 15 seconds. When the life bloom is expired or dispelled, the target is instantly healed for another 20,000. It's It's okay, guys. It feels very gutted. It doesn't seem like it heals as well as it used to, unfortunately. And then you have Lunar Strike. This is just a damaging ability. I've got this up here only for one reason. That's because of a talent of taking the Moonkin Spirit, and we'll talk over that here later. You've got Mighty Bash. Invokes the Spirit of Ursoc to stun the target for 5 seconds. Usable in all shapeshift forms. Again, this is a talent. We'll go over that a little more later. Moonfire, Lunar, another damaging ability. Nothing too big on that, guys. Moonkin form. This is actually only here because of a talent also. We'll go over that later. Nature's Cure, your D-Curse, basic. Prowl, activates cat form, makes you stealthy, nothing bad. If you don't want to fight anything, you can basically sneak past almost all of it. Rebirth is still there, guys. Your battle res, you still got it. 60% health and 20% mana is what you will resurrect them with, and it is castable in combat, thus the battle res. Regrowth. This is still your spammy, not spammy by any means, sorry, wrong word. This is your oh shit heal, and it still has that same problem of the initial heal not being enough, but it still does fairly decent. But the heal itself really doesn't seem to do that well unless it actually crits. It does have that 60% increased chance, but with your mana, you're really taking a shot in the dark on whether you're actually going to get it. And then you have Rejuve, your basic hot, works almost exactly the same as on live, guys. I mean, it's the same thing. You throw out Rejuve and it's going to heal over time, and it's a pretty good amount of healing over time. So that's just something to think about. Also, Revitalize. This is your mass res. Works basically the same as mass res on live, but it's just got a different name for the druids. Revive. This is going to be your resurrection. Solar Wrath. Just a basic damage ability in case you need to do some damage. Star Surge, only there because of the Moonkin talent. One nice part to point out, though, it increases the damage of your next Lunar Strike or Wrath by 20%, so it kind of gives you a damage gameplay if you do go the Moonkin form. Sunfire, damaging dot, guys. It's going to do some light initial damage and then longer damage over 12 seconds. And then it also spreads to all enemies, just like on the Boomkin. Swiftman, this is a good clutch little heal, guys. 30-second cooldown, and it heals for a very good amount compared to the rest of your heals. So just remember, keep this up. But it does have a 30-second cooldown, so timing is going to be something that you want to play with on this. Tranquility, okay, it's okay right now. You have ways of buffing this thing, and we'll talk about that over the artifact whenever we go over it. But currently, it's going to heal for only 77,000 over 7 seconds. Not too much, guys. I mean, that's really not a whole hell of a lot. And healing's increased by 100% when not in a raid. So it does help, but it's not that great. It feels very weak in comparison. Travel form, shapeshift. This is just going to either turn you into a stag or the bird or bat or whatever spec you or race you happen to be. It's going to swap you into your perspective travel form that is available at the time. Ursol's Vortex. Now it is no longer a talent. It is actually baked right into your abilities. And it's instant with a 1-minute cooldown. And it's going to conjure a vortex in a location. There it is. And anything that moves into it's going to reduce the movement speed of all enemies within this area by 50%. And the first time the enemy tries to leave, it's going to pull them back to its center. So it's really nice CC, at least to give you a little bit of distance. If something's running at you a whole hell of a lot, you can toss this down and save your own ass. Get a couple heals off or something. And then there's Wild Growth. This is still decent, but it's not as good as it used to be, and it's going to be a very little amount of healing, and it's going to heal up to 600 allies within 30 yards of the target for 28,000 over 7 seconds. Healing starts off high and declines over the duration. Let's just cast this thing out real quick, and you can watch the ticks. They're kind of 9,000. I mean, it's real low healing off of this. It's very disappointing. It's not that great at all, especially when you're looking at, okay, this is going to do 28,000 to somebody that's got 553,000. Again, numbers really aren't something to be looking at right now because it is beta, but that is extremely low in comparison to where it should be. Astral Influence, this is baked off of a talent also. We'll get into that later. Living Seed's still here. When you critically heal with a target with a direct healing portion, the direct healing portion of Swiftman, Regrowth, or Healing Touch, you plant a Living Seed on the target. When the target is next attacked, the Living Seed will bloom and heal the target for 50% of the initial heal. So, I don't know if I can get this to proc or not. We'll just try a Regrowth real quick since it's got a better chance of critting. And it's up there, and you just can't see it. Well, there we go. Alright, so Living Seed, next attack received will cause you to be instantly healed for 22,000. Really, guys, it's a good amount of healing, and it's nice that it's still there, and it seems to play a bit better now in this kind of healing focus than it did prior in like WoD or anything to where it felt like useless healing. Mastery Harmony, this has been changed yet again. Your healing is increased by 9% for each of your restoration heal over time effects on your target. So it's really a bit different, guys. Instead of basically, okay, so I've got one up, and then if I ended up putting more, yeah, as long as you keep HOTS up, your healing's going to be improved. Each one of your heal items is going to be higher, and you'll see a lot of your stuff that's got low numbers actually balance up to where they need to be. But the biggest problem I see with this is the cost, and Rejuvenation is very expensive in comparison to what it was. Life Bloom is a little more expensive than what Rejuve is, but Rejuve is still going to be your way to go, and it works out good. This is a great piece to balance by. Mastery is kind of important for you, and you don't have to cast a single target heal to activate it anymore. It's just basically, okay, your healing increases as you end up throwing these up. So it does end up helping quite a bit. And then you've got Omen of Clarity still. Your healing over time from Life Bloom has a 4% chance to cause clear casting state, making your next regrowth cost no mana. So basically you'll just randomly see regrowth light up and you'll want to use it on whoever's lowest. Usually the tank, if you don't have anyone that's low, you can end up casting it on them just to get the other hot off on them to help out there. And then Ysera's Gift, this is a talent, this is not a talent, I'm sorry, this is baked into the restoration side, and it heals you for 3% of your maximum health every 5 seconds. If you're at full health, the random nearby player will be healed instead. Same as what's on live, except it's no longer a talent, and because you are a restoration druid, you don't have this through the affinity, it's baked into your spec. So with that, guys, that's the abilities. Let's move on to the talents. Alright, so here's the talents. Level 15, we'll start it right off at the beginning. Prosperity. Swiftman now has 2 charges, and its cooldown is reduced by 5 seconds. This is pretty awesome ability, guys. I did play with this quite a bit, and it felt pretty nice for a clutch situation, because Swiftman having those 2 charges, you could pop a tank all the way back up to full if need be, or, you know, save a DPS. It's just really nice for clutch situations. And then if you got Cenarian Ward, 30-second cooldown, protects a friendly target for 30 seconds. Any damage taken will consume it and heal the target for a very good amount over 6 seconds. This is great for tank healing. Also, you just throw this up every 30 seconds whenever you think they're going to take a lot of damage, and it'll bump them right back up. Feels good, and it also acts as a hot, so it gets the benefit of your other hot masteries and everything. So you're feeling pretty good with Cenarian Ward. Abundance, passive. For each rejuvenation you have active, the cast time of Healing Touch is reduced by 10%, and the critical effect chance of regrowth is increased by 10%. With this knowledge, if you plan on doing a ton of AE healing and tossing rejuves left and right, this is going to help out a ton, because you can get about 3 or 4 of them up, and it does give you a nice little counter over your buff bars to show you how many you have. And what this is going to do is it's going to basically let you know, okay, I've got 3 or 4, I can just start spamming Healing Touch, and that's going to save me a bit of mana. Helps out a ton. And it also gets a ton of healing out at a good mana efficient cost, guys. So you don't really have to worry too much about mana when you're running this way. Level 30, Renewal. This is just a basic heal on yourself. 2-minute cooldown, 30% of your maximum health healed. Works alright. Then you've got Displacer Beast. This one's basically, let's take the hit. This is get the hell out of it. It's going to work the same as Blink on mages, but it's going to have you teleport up to 25 yards forward, activating cat form and increasing your movement speed by 50% for 4 seconds. And as you can see, there it is, and I'm just running a little bit faster than I normally would. And there's a pile of crap down here. That's actually, if you stand idle too long, you'll actually see the Druid has a little effect underneath it, like the Restoration Shaman now, that just kind of pools out. And then you've got Wild Charge. This is your next one. Now, basically what this is going to do in your Druid form, the base, you can read all the different stuff that's up there right now. I am not going to. But in a non-Druid form, non-shape-shifted form, you're going to just fly to the ally's position. It's basically going to be like a reverse life grip for you. And it's not that great, guys, unless you really think you need it. But it's honestly, with Displacer Beast in there, Displacer Beast is going to take over every time. Because, well, hey, it's instant, it gives you speed increase, and it also activates cat form so you can get the hell out of stuff even faster. Level 45, this is going to be your affinities, guys, and if you've seen anything on any of the Druids, you know exactly where I'm going with this. But level 45, increase the range of all your abilities by 5 yards. You also learn Moonkin Form, Star Surge, and Lunar Strike. Alright, cool. So basically the whole reason why I took this wasn't so much for the Moonkin form or the damage, because if I wanted to, I'd just swap to Moonkin. But it's for the increased range of all your abilities by 5 yards. If someone gets a little too far out of the way, which they should never because you're constantly running, that's going to help you out a bit more than the other two. And then you've got Feral Affinity. This is going to increase your movement speed by 15%, and then give you the cat form abilities, and also increase your energy regen by 35%. Okay. Then you've got Guardian Affinity, and reduces all damage taken by 10%. So all these are going to be dependent on the player and what they feel is best for them. If you think you're going to be taking a lot of extra heavy damage, Guardian Affinity. Movement, if you feel like you're going to be needing to move a lot, this one will end up working better. And then you've got Balance Affinity, which is just range. I went with it for, I don't know, reasons. There really isn't much of a difference between any one of these. Now, the movement speed, that was also another perk on my end that I wanted, but I wasn't too terribly worried about it. And it's kind of broke right now on beta, so I went with Balance Affinity in case I wanted to swap in a dungeon and just take Moonkin form and blow something up real quick before going back to healing. Level 60, Mighty Bash. Alright, this is your CC group. This is going to work the same as on live. You're going to smack somebody around as a Spirit of Ursoc and stun them for 5 seconds. Nothing big. 50-second cooldown, guys, and it's a 5-second stun. Works alright if you need to help interrupt something that someone is stunnable on. Mass Entanglement says exactly what it is. You're going to end up targeting an area, and it's going to basically root everything in that area for 20 seconds, and then that's it, guys. That is all it's going to do. Let's see. Typhoon, this is a knockback. Alright, 20 yards in front of you, it's going to hit a violent Typhoon and knock him back, and then also dazes them for 6 seconds. It's usable in all shapeshift forms, and a 30-second cooldown, so if you need to get the mobs away for some damn reason, this is good. It's been useful in the past for other fights, but currently, right now, I just took Mighty Bash. Level 75, Soul of the Forest, passive. When you cast Swiftman, you gain Soul of the Forest, increasing the healing of your next regrowth or rejuvenation by 200%, or increasing the healing of your next wild growth by 75%. Now this is going to line up well with Prosperity, especially with that wild growth increase. As I was mentioning before, wild growth doesn't seem to do very much, And I'm guessing a lot of that has to do with this talent right here, because currently in live, a lot of people were bastardizing it and using this simply for the AoE situation, giving Wild Growth the mini trank situation, and it works really damn well. It's a good gameplay style. So just something to keep in mind, guys, that if you're looking at changing it up a bit and going for a long-term fight to where you may constantly need healing, Soul of the Forest is still a very valid option. That's not the case in some of the 5-mans, and usually it's just burst periods, so I went with Incarnation Tree of Life. 3-minute cooldown, shapeshift into a Tree of Life, increasing healing done by 15%, increasing armor by 120%, and granting protection of the polymorph effects. Functionality with Rejuvenation, Wild Growth, Regrowth, and Entangling Roots is enhanced, and we will go ahead and show the enhancements right now, so you can take a look at those. And this is pretty nice, guys, and what we're looking at is basically Tree of Life is going to Regrowth is going to be instant with it, and then you've got Rejuve, which is healing's going to be increased by 50%, and the mana cost is reduced by 30%. Let's see what else we got here. We've got Wild Growth, and that's going to affect an additional 2 targets. So yes, you still have basically the same control as you normally would. And then Entangling Roots, I believe, is also... Yeah, Entangling Roots, and what that's going to be is, I believe... Do I have it on the bars? There it is. It's instant cast also. So guys, yep, that's going to be it for Tree of Life. It's going to have its perks, and it does end up helping quite a bit on increasing your healing for a very brief period of time. 30 seconds, but it's a great amount. And Germination's always a great one also, guys. This is great for longevity once you get going. And basically, you can apply Rejuvenation twice to the same target. Same thing as what's on live with Germination. Now, the thing I will say about this is each one of these, if you plan on going Abundance, alright, whenever you cast them, if you cast 2 onto yourself, let me swap over to it real quick. But if you cast 2 on yourself, Abundance is actually counting both of those. It's counting the Rejuvenation, it's counting the Germination, and then you've also got 2% on there. So something to keep in mind, some of these pair up very nicely. And that's going to help out a ton also, again, in the AoE situation. So just keep that little piece in mind. And let's see, I'll go ahead and popping. There you go. Same tree form as what we're used to for Incarnation, guys. So it's not bad. It looks okay. And then level 90, Spring Blossoms, passive. Each target healed by efflorescence is healed by an additional 61,000. I had some AoE situations, so I definitely went with this one. It helped out decently. Is this the best at all times? No, not really. Again, because Efflo only ends up healing, you'll end up seeing it, and this is the Spring Blossoms, the actual ability off of it itself, and a trinket proc. Efflo only heals 3 targets at a time whenever it heals, so that's something to remember whenever you choose this. It's not going to be the greatest, but in a 5-man it worked out pretty good. Inner Peace reduces the cooldown of Tranquility by 60 seconds. Yes please. Basically turns it from a 3-minute to a 2-minute cooldown, and even though it's not the strongest, it's still a strong cooldown, guys. It works out fairly well, especially on a 2-minute cooldown. Longer fights, this may be the way to go if you know you're going to need it. Cultivation. When Rejuvenation heals a target below 60% health, it applies Cultivation to the target, healing them for a decent little chunk, guys. I mean, you're looking at 12,000 there, alright, and numbers aren't really a big thing. The heal itself on, let me just show you, okay, Rejuve is going to do right around 50,000 for X amount of time, but it's not going to do it because I'm not going to be able to get under 60% health. But anyways, you kind of get the point. It's going to do a decent amount of additional healing. So if you're in a fight to where everyone's kind of sitting low the whole time, again, this is going to be on the whole Rejuve spam side that's going to help out a ton. And this is going to just help keep them afloat instead of actually trying to top them off. That's the whole healing model now, guys, is it's not so much topping everybody off, but it's keeping everybody alive and, you know, probably above 60%. That's about what you're looking at, but it works out pretty good. And then you've got Moment of Clarity in the level 100, and this is going to make your next 3 regrowths. Whenever Moment of Clarity procs, it's going to affect the next 3 regrowths. So they're, instead of just getting 1 that's free, you're going to get 3 that's free. Stonebark passive reduces the cooldown on Ironbark by 30 seconds, and its healing and increases the healing from your heal over time's effects by 20%. So normally this would just do on a minute and a half cooldown, it would just reduce the damage they take by 20%. But because I have this talent, I did mention in the abilities that they improved it. Well, this is the reason why it's improved. Flourish, instant, 1 minute cooldown. Extend the duration of all your heal over time effects and friendly targets within 60 yards by 6 seconds. So if you're looking at padding out a couple more hots, because again, the more hots you have up, the more healing you're doing through your mastery. This is going to be an awesome gameplay situation. If you see a lot of damage coming out and you're looking at getting it set up just a bit more, you can actually pop this thing, extend those out, and keep increasing your healing as you throw out these hots. It's gonna be pretty sick, honestly, on how much you end up doing, because Rejuve, it's still, it doesn't heal for a whole hell of a lot. I mean, 7,000 right now. But if I were to heal someone else, let me see if I got somebody, that guy. Alright, so we're gonna heal him, and then we'll heal ourselves, and you'll see it'll actually go up 8,000. So the mastery works fairly decent, and it'll end up building really fast, especially if you're running a mythic group, you know, 20 people, and you're having to try and keep these up at as much as possible. It's going to be an extremely high amount of ramped healing when you get to that point. Alright guys, so that's it for the talents. Let's go ahead and move on to the artifact itself. Alright, so we're going to take a look at the skins here first, obviously. And you can end up seeing they added a couple other things here. You've got your knowledge levels also, alright, on your actual weapon. And what they did was Gnar the Mother Tree, total ranks purchased 1, stamina increased by 0.75 for every trait purchase, damage dealt increased by 1% for every... Okay, so they added a little bit of a ranking bonus on these things to help improve with the actual damage. Or the damage, or whatever the power might end up being. So just keep that in mind. This is something new, and it's looking good. But the skins themselves, guys, this isn't a bad looking staff. It's really got the restoration feel. And we'll let it spin around, and we'll show some of the other colors. But this is going to be Gnar, the Mother Tree. This is the base model, and as you can see, it's basically a root. It fits the tree aspect, I guess, quite a bit. And it's not horrible, but there's ones like the Elder Tree. This one gets a little better. And as you can kind of tell if you've seen any of my other videos, as you go down, you usually get a lot better. And here's another model. They look pretty good. And then you got Crystalline Awakening. I really like this one. Gonna wait till it finishes coming back around. It's kind of got a like a Draenor look, you know, not Draenor. Oh, Draenei. Yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. Keep wanting to say Eridar or something, but yeah, it looks really nice. I enjoy this model quite a bit. Yeah. And then this is your PvP one, Deadwood Keeper. And it's okay. Looks good. Yeah, maybe. Alright guys, so that's enough for the skins. You kind of get the base model look, and it's kind of hard to see with the way this is set up. But we'll definitely end up coming right back to you with some of the traits. Here we are with the traits, and Essence of Gnar. Instant 1.5 minute cooldowns. Like I said, guys, this is just Genesis. They ended up taking Genesis and threw it into the artifact trait. The first step out the door after you get this, though, is Nature's Vigil. Or Vigor, sorry. Increases the healing of rejuvenation by 15%. That's always nice, because Rejuve's kind of still your bread and butter on the hot. Infusion of Nature. Wow, I wanted to say Nightmare. God, this thing's really, Legion's really got me kind of mentally fucked up right now, because there's a lot of crazy shit that goes on in here. But it reduces the mana cost of Wild Growth by 3, 6, and 9%. Persistence, 0 of 3. Increase the duration of Moonfire, Rejuve, and Sunfire by 1 second, 2 seconds, or 3 seconds. And then you've got Knowledge of the Ancients, rank 0 of 3. Increases mana regeneration by 2, 4, and 6%. Power of the Archdruid. Wild Growth has a 25% chance to cause your next Rejuve or Regrowth to also apply to 2 additional allies within 15 yards of the target. Now this is what I was talking about with getting the empowerments through Regrowth. Or sorry, Wild Growth. And this is going to really help out quite a bit, having your next Rejuve or Regrowth apply the hot portion to 2 other targets whenever you cast it once. This is absolutely ungodly for a AoE situation, especially if it acts like a smart heal and it puts it on targets that you don't already have the Rejuve, and it works good with your mastery. And if this plays well, this could be really awesome. And then we're looking at Seeds of the World Tree. Living Seed heals for an additional 10% of the initial heal which planted it, and that's going to be 10, 20, or 30%. Nature Mending, 0 of 3. Increases healing done by Swiftman by 10, 20, or 30%. Cool. Grove Walker, 0 of 3. Increase all healing over time you do by 1, 2, or 3%. Yes, please. Because that's basically what you are. Nature's Essence, 0-1. Wild Growth instantly heals its target for 6,000. So it's not a lot, but again, this is another one of the Wild Growth increases that I was talking about. Let's see. Blooms of Gnar. Increase the bloom healing from Life Bloom by 50%. Alright, so this is going to increase that last little poof that you end up getting at the end, which is nice because it does a good amount of healing, and they want you to get into the gameplay of refreshing it after it blows off. Like, they've kind of done that a little bit again back in WoD, but yeah, helps out a ton. Marcus Shifting, rank 0-1. While in travel form, cat form, moonkin form, or bear form, you heal for 1% of your maximum health every 3 seconds. Alright, that's a little interesting. So basically, if you need if you use Displacer Beast and you're trying to get out of something, while you're in there, you're going to regen some health, which is kind of nice. And then we'll go down here. Increase the healing done by Tranquility by 20% and is now castable while moving. Hold on. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me the whole point of us doing the Mist of Pandaria crap with the shamans and getting Grace, Spirit Walker's Grace on a Druid, and they didn't want us doing that anymore, and now they're bringing this back? And they're increasing the healing with it? Alright, fuck it, we'll take it. But yeah, the last I remember, the whole reason why they took away the, I can't remember what it was, the symbiosis, was because Resto Druids were abusing it way too much, and they were throwing it on shamans so they could end up getting Spirit Walker's Grace. And they were running around with Tranquility, and they didn't want you to be able to do that. So that was one of the main reasons they took away Symbiosis, was because it was being abused in that situation for progression. Now here it is, to where you've got it, and it's going to be baseline through your artifact. Why not? Let's take it. So that looks really nice, guys, and it's a real good perk. Blessings of the World Tree. Rank 0 of 3. Increases healing done by Healing Touch and the initial healing done by Regrowth by 3%. So 3, 6, or 9%. So this is going to be very nice getting those extra healing touches off that you're reducing the cast time for anyways if you take Abundance. So it's going to help out quite a bit. Armor of the Ancient, 0 of 3. Iron Bark reduces all damage taken by the target by an additional 2, 4, or 6%. And then you've got Essence of Nordrassil. I think I said that right. I'm not sure. Increases healing done by Efflorescence by 5, 10, or 15%. Cool. And then you've got our last Golden Dragon. Rank 0 of 1. Wild Growth has a chance to momentarily shift your mind into the Emerald Dream, instantly healing all allies affected by your rejuvenation by 15,446. So this Gold Dragon plays with this Gold Dragon, and they all have a really good time. So if you've got everybody already pre-spammed with Rejuve, and you go to cast it, this has got a good chance of actually helping top you off again, and it's going to play very well. But with that, guys, this is the end of the artifact let's move on to the actual gameplay. What's up, guys? And here we are, and we're taking a look at the gameplay. Now, one of the things that I mentioned before at the very intro of this was this is playing almost exactly as it is on live. Not too much is false from that at all. Rejuve is still going to be one of your main baseline abilities. You've still got Life Bloom, which you're going to want to keep up on the tank just for that little base healing. Now, it's not necessary to keep Life Bloom up, and with the cost, it is a little bit expensive to keep refreshing it. So you want to make sure that it's healing and it's actually getting good healing out of it, because it does have a higher cost than normal. Regrowth, this is going to still be your go-to clutch heal. You know, you're going to spam it on somebody or try and get them healed up with it. Generally, guys, this is all playing the same. Swiftman's playing the same. Where's the difference at? Okay, AoE, Wild Growth, it doesn't do much of crap. A lot of the AoE situations, you're going to want to just end up tossing Rejuve out on the peoples and then healing him back up with Healing Touch in most situations, until you start getting some of the artifact power for Wild Growth. And then you've also got Efflorescence. Efflorescence is probably going to be the better way to go than Wild Growth itself. It's hard telling. Really, guys, this is playing almost the same as on live. If you played a Resto Druid on live right now, you're not going to have a problem getting into this. It's going to play almost 100% the same. You still have Iron Bark, which is a great tank cooldown. You have Innervate on yourself. Like, you can cast Innervate and it's going to heal yourself or give you that 10-second window to where you can just spam heal everything. So you don't need to really worry about mana on that one either, unless you're looking at, you know, in a raid environment where you know someone else is going to need it for some reason. But most of the time, I can see a good point of using Innervate on yourself. With that 3-minute cooldown, it's going to allow you to push quite a bit more healing through and toss more rejuves and just go absolutely ham with this. Tranquility, it's still there, guys. It still does pretty good on the actual healing side of it, with it doing a decent amount over 7 seconds. And if you're not in a raid group, in an actual 5-man or something like that, you're looking at 100% increased healing. Helps out a ton in a 5-man situation. Really, what you're looking at here, though, guys, AoE, make sure you're just keeping your rejuves up. Most of the time, they're not taking a whole hell of a lot of damage. If they are taking a lot of damage, use your regrowth for a clutch situation. And then on your tanks, just make sure you're keeping your hots up, and then you're also keeping up Life Bloom. And most of the time, guys, with this ever-changing world of healing, you know, there's so many different situations that you can work with. You're going to have to learn what abilities need to go where. Heavy damage, I mean, you still got Swiftman on a 30-second cooldown. If it's off cooldown, you can use it in a clutch situation. There is so much you can end up doing with this spec to actually boost people up. And apparently Blizzard enjoyed the fact that it was working out very well on live, so they decided to leave it the same. Now, all in all, where is this thing going? If you've played Resto Druid for the past couple years, you may get bored with this spec. Just because, again, there is nothing different with this. All the way down to Genesis being worked in as your artifact. If you have a rough time and you've got a whole hell of a lot of healing that needs to be done really quick, and you've got hots on everybody, you can go ahead and just hit Essence of Gnar, aka Genesis, and it's going to help pop them up really damn fast, guys. And it's just a good, fast healing. I mean, 8 seconds on that. If you need to refresh that heal also, you can, because it's, again, it's like Genesis, but it's not 100%. It's just increasing the heal over time effect by 100%. So really helps out. Really helps out a ton, guys. And I hope you take this and you end up enjoying it. But the fact is, I don't have a whole hell of a lot to talk about on this spec, just because if you played it once, you've played it twice. Very little changes on this thing that actually matter to the general rotation and gameplay and spec of this piece. So with that, guys, let's take a look at the logs and see exactly where your heals will be coming from. Alright, so here we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking at Odin, and he's the last boss in Halls of Valor. Yeah, that place. And as expected, if you had already thought about this, Rejuve is top heal by a good amount. Then you've got Swiftman not far behind it, just because it heals very well, and it's a quick, easy, instant cast button with a 30-second cooldown. You can see right in here, each one of these areas. Yeah, I was definitely using it when I needed. Living Seed's a lot higher on this than I was expecting. As you can see, it was on the tank, but I mean, still, you're looking at 7%, almost 8%, and then Life Bloom. This is all mainly just tank healing, though, guys. There's not a whole hell of a lot on here. If we want to look at a little bit more, we'll go ahead and go to Fenrir. And here's Fenrir. Alright, more of an AoE situation because of the ramping dot. And you can see Rejuve really takes off at that point, because it's on everybody. Just a whole lot of healing. And really, guys, it's a good mix. If you end up playing this thing right, you already know where this is going to be placed, because again, it's not much different than where live is. Now, F-Low, with its change, is a lot lower than what we would normally see on an AoE situation, because that 3-person cap really sucks. I believe it's 6 people on live, if that. I don't even know if there is a cap. It's been a while since I've actually been on a resto on live, and the way they change things, it's hard telling. But that 3 cap really kind of holds it down, but it still does a decent amount of healing. So this is what you've got, guys. Not a whole hell of a lot to really look at. Rejuve is still going to be your top dog contender and your go-to heal. Healing Touch, still pretty good for the efficient side, especially after you get a couple Rejuves out. And then Wild Growth, I mean, it does what it needs to, guys. And this is a heavier AoE fight, just because whenever you get into the end there, you've got all those different dots. And these were all melee except for one, so... Or, I'm sorry, they were 2 ranged. It was 2 ranged, the Ret Pally, and they were all kind of stacked up, and we were getting a bunch of ramping dots. So it was getting really bad towards the end, as you can see. But with this, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this. If you did, go ahead and throw it a like and subscribe, and I will definitely try and get you the best content I can available to you as soon as possible. And as always, thanks for watching.